Now it's worked. Give me a minute. I've been trying to go live for over an hour. I'm having a laugh. Right, come on. Come with me.
Dad.
Yes, sweetheart.
I need your printer for my homework.
No problem. You get the printer. That's right. Oh, my word. Bear with me, folks. Bear with. Oh. You wouldn't believe the hassle that this has caused me. Been on the live chat support YouTube. No joy. My dinner's turned up. I've just... Anyway. What a flipping palaver. How are we anyway? Oh, sorry, guys. That stressed me the hell out. Omar, right, I'm glad Omar can see. Omar saying nice it's working. Appreciate that, Omar. Obviously, you know I've been struggling to try and get live. Give me a second. I feel like a vampire. Oh my word. Right, for the last, what time is it now? It's 9:30. For an hour and a half, I've been trying to make this thing flipping go live, and it just kept coming up. Can't stream at this moment in time. Whatever. So I've had YouTube live flipping chat with someone probably in the middle of India trying to help me, which didn't ultimately do nothing. And because I didn't respond to him fast enough, he cancelled our little chat. So he was gone. And I was just sat there then. I was just sat in the house then having me Indian, just finishing it off. And I thought, you know what? I'll just give you one last little stab before I just call it a night and forget about it. And it worked straight away. Oh, what a day. So I've been working today as well, by the way. Again, bear with me. I wasn't expecting you to all be here. So I've got peeler rice in my mouth. I was sat in here before, literally 20 minutes ago, drinking this beer, so I'm going to finish this as well. What a fucking palaver that was. Do you know what? It takes quite a lot to get me stressed out. But that was really starting to stress me out. Now, that's not the worst thing that's happened to me today. I don't even know what title I've given this video, so I don't even know what it says. But things that have happened to me today. Someone thought I was homeless. I've been working till 6 o'clock at night. I didn't work yesterday. Let's see. Sorry. Before we crack on, let's just see who's online. Right, Omar's on, my old mate Omar. Mike R1, evening, Mike. Luke DeCosta. What was for dinner, Kirk? Luke, I had a chicken tikka sandwich, which is like tandoori chicken in a naan bread with onions, lettuce, and tomato, and a mint yogurt dip tip on top of it. It's absolutely gorgeous, mate. I had that. I share that, me and the missus. I give her half of it, because we can't eat a full meal, it's too much. So I give her half of that, and then I have half a chicken tikka boona with a bit of peeler rice. That's usually quite nice, Peshwari naan bread. Sometimes I'll have keema rice, onion bhajis on the side. Feel like, is it James Corbyn that flipping reels it off? I can literally just reel off Indian meals, mate, off the top of my head. Gaynor Overton, please give me a shout out. A big shout out to Gaynor. Hope you're okay, mate. Lucy, all good. Kirk. Lexi, sorry. James Horsepool. Is that a man shed? I need one of them. James, this isn't just your average man shed. So I've got a little there's a little toilet behind there, my little couch, fan, it's all insulated. Got my TV screens for me YouTube and PS5 or whatever you want to watch. And then down here, mate, I've got if you can see down there, there's a workshop with all my tools and what have you in there. So, it's my little den, mate. I've got 3 daughters, so I sort of built this place for myself, my own little escape. Not that I need to escape them, but, you know, just a bit of I can come in and watch crap on TV, you know, engineering stuff on YouTube or you know, stuff that blokes like watching. They want to watch soaps and, like, you know, Love Island and all that sort of crap. So, yeah, I just sneak off down here on my own. Analogy, eh? Andrew was it's live. David Loving the World. So, Ellesmere Port, lad. Hope you're good, Dan. Neil Mortimer, Evening Kirk, the nomadic trader, Welsh accent, Liverpool, isn't he? No, I'm actually just out. I tell you what, mate. The Welsh won't accept us. Person, Charles Bronson. And there's someone in S Club 7 as well. There's a few people from the port, actually. Robbie Fowler lived in... Danny Arbuckle, not another Indian. Don't blame me, mate. The one you go to is proper. Danny... Every Sunday, mate. Every Sunday I have an Indian. Omar, stop the food talk. I'm so hungry. I don't know if the title of this video showed up or not, but I'll just tell you a quick story today, right? So as you probably know, I'm a plasterer. I mean, if HMRC are watching this, they'll have a field day with this. But I'm not the cheapest plasterer around. I'm probably say this, but I'm probably one of the most expensive plasterers in Ellesmere Port, in my local area. I don't know really gets out material thing. I graft hard. I love work. I don't stop working. When I'm not working, I'm booking jobs in, right? When I'm not booking jobs in, I have to film today. So I used to study a lot. I used to read books. I've done all sorts of different things. I love learning. At the minute, I mean, folks started TikTok content. I've got a coaching group, or well, a sales and marketing accelerated camp is what we call it, where I teach people sales and marketing skills specifically for tradespeople. Oh, and just whilst we're touching on that, the link. This video is going to be cut short. I can't be on a long time tonight. The marketing group where I'm helping fellas to promote themselves on the internet, social media. Jump in there, social media. If you want me to help you rank #1 on Google, basically, if you want me to help you get shitloads of work, click on the link in the description, and we can have a little chat, and I can get you in the group. Food and a comfy bed. That's it. People. Now, just earlier, I went to Asda in Ellesmere Port, and on my way into Asda, there was a young lady sort of sat outside. There's like a little walkway tunnel that takes you from Asda to like a shopping precinct. Like it's like an undercover little in there. She's probably around about 30. Sat down on the floor, and you know she's got a bag with her, and she's basically begging, you know, but she's not asking no one for nothing. She's just got a little cup in front of her. She's just sat there. I recognise this woman because a couple of months ago I seen her and she was in our pizza, my daughter. So on the way to Domino's, we clocked her in the van. I said to me little girl, like me 11-year-old daughter, I said, should we get her a pizza as well? And she was like, yeah. She was made up. And so I recognized then. I said to her, oh, hey, love, how are you? You okay? And she was like, yeah. I said, you don't remember me, do you? I said, I am. She didn't remember me. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So anyway, so I'll keep it short. So I goes into Asda, and I thought I'll get her 2 meal deals. So I got a sandwich, a drink, and crisps ×2. I got 2 loads of them. Got my bits and bobs that I needed, and come back out. So I've come back over to her and give her 2 meal deals, and I said, look, I know you asked me for beer. I'd rather you have something to eat and a fresh bit of food and a drink and what have you. I said, there's a £5. You do with the £5 whatever you want. I'm not going to go and buy your beer, but you know, you spend that on whatever you want anyway. So she was made up. She had something to eat and that. And I got talking to her. So I said to her, like, no, I don't want to be like intrusive, but what's going on, mate? Why are you on the streets? Like, what? How come you sat here now doing this? Could you not, what's your story, basically? I wasn't grilling her. As you can imagine, said this in quite a nice sort of tone to her and that. And so she started telling me her story and what had happened to her. And it turns out her parents, both her parents were drug addicts. So this girl's grown up sort of with drug addict parents, but not telling no one. And she's gone to school, and years ago, she was in dirty uniform that didn't fit her. And she said she got bullied in school. So she stopped going to school. She just jibbed it off because she didn't like getting picked on. And she used to spend her time going around the city in the daytime, but she had no money and nothing to eat. So she ended up sort of begging as a teenager, and people giving her money and what have you. She knocked around with homeless people and they were nice to her. So that's sort of like the lifestyle that she fell into. And people would just give her money. And she didn't. I just never got out of it. I've just, she drinks and people give her money on the street. But it all started from when she was a kid. So do you know what? I really started. And I was just, you just feel for someone. Don't get sad because it gets quite funny. So at this point, I'm like down on my knees, sort of talking to her on the floor. So I ended up just having a good old chat and started telling about my childhood, things that had happened to me, because I didn't have I had a great childhood, but my dad liked to drink and was quite aggressive when he drank. I love the bones of my dad, by the way, but I had an interesting upbringing as well. People getting sparked out and house getting smashed up and what have you. You've always got to keep in your mind, you never know when things are going to change. So this young lady I'm talking to, we could all be in that situation like that. It only takes a freak accident and you're disabled, you can't pay your bills, you've got no insurance, or you get a tax investigation, which I've had. HMRC come and took 37 grand off me. Now, it all depends on mindset, you see, I think. You can be right down there in the dumps, but if you've got a good, strong mindset, you can climb back out again. If you haven't got those tools, things can go sideways quite quickly. So I've always got time for anybody that's struggling, because I know, like that, we could all be in the same boat. So whilst I'm talking to this young lady and I'm sat down and I'm almost in tears because I'm listening to her story and it's really hitting me in the heart, And with the funny part about it was, as I was talking to her, look at the way I'm just a flipping, I'm covered in shit, I've just been plastering all day and I'm down on my knees talking to her, and some fella comes back and he comes past and gives me a couple of quid. He went, "Yeah, mate." And do you know what? I just said to him, "Cheers, mate, thank you very much." Just passed it to her. And I passed it to her. She was just laughing at me. Some fella thought I was homeless and was giving me money. And I'm flipping, I'm thinking, I just said to her, I said, "I'm probably the richest tramp you're ever going to meet." I probably earn more than the fella that gave me the money, but anyway, it just made us both laugh. So we were both there. Like, she's telling me her life story, I'm telling her my life story. She's all upset. It's making me upset. Some fella's just give me money, and then the minute he's just passed me some money, we're just laughing at each other. It's just, it was one of them sort of situations you'd have to sort of be there to understand. But anyway, I just thought I'd tell you that. Just a mad thing that happened to me today after I finished work. But anyway, enough of my stories now. I've tried for an hour and a half to go live, and now we're live, so let's just see what you guys have been up to. I'll go through a few comments, and feel free to fire away with any questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. But as I said, I am short of time, because I need to get into my group, and I've got a few things to do in there, so Right. Gainer Overton, thank you for the shout out. Not a problem, Gainer. Not a problem, mate. I don't know what's going on. It just said reconnecting. James Horsepool, that is absolutely fantastic, buddy. Well knitted out and nice and clean. Yeah, I totally understand not having 3 children myself and a baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't say I've got 3 daughters and a baby son as well. Jimmy's Building Services. Kurt, there's a few lads, a frozen page waiting for your live. I was one of them. Oh, yeah, sorry, mate. James Horspool, keep up the good work, buddy. Jorex Jim, I can't watch this. Not sure if it's my connection or yours, mate. I don't know what's going on. Work safe renovations, yes, Kirk. All round port, Kirk. How tall are you, mate? Just asking. 5'11". 666 woos. Hi Kurt, thanks again for the rendering advice yesterday. Really good of you to call me. Appreciate it. Turned out sound in the end, Andy. Spot on, mate. Fantastic. As I was saying, I genuinely enjoy talking to people, so if you guys manage to find me out on the internet and chat to me, I'll come back at you. I love talking to people, you know, and if I can help someone out, then I definitely will. Bogdan Christian Ferrant. Hello, Kirk from Antalya. Bogdan. Right, so just so you know as well, Bogdan is not from Antalya. He's from Romania and he lives in Ellesmere Port, and he's one of my favourite customers. In fact, there's a video on my channel of me doing some plastering at Bogdan's house. I can't think what the video is called, but I didn't film it and I should have done. Bogdan made me a big goulash outside. He cooked it in a cauldron and lit a fire underneath it and cooked me a proper goulash. That was absolutely amazing as well. Something I'll never forget, that, Bogdan. Thank you. Your video's freezing. I'm sorry, mate. I don't know what's going on with it. John Fenwick, 43 mins. What? Omar, yeah, Wi-Fi must be off. I don't know what's going on, mate. Sean, MEFC, big softy, mate. What a kind of thing I do on a drunken night out. I'll buy homeless people food and have a, where's that gone now? And have a good chat. Only when I'm pissed, though. Yeah. Do you know what, mate? I'll tell you something interesting. Homeless people that don't seem to have anything materially, have got time, and they always seem to be like they've got the time of day for you, and they've always got the most loveliest of stories. I'll tell you something interesting. You ask a homeless person if they can spare you some change, I guarantee nearly every homeless person you speak to and ask them to spare you some change, they'll have change for you. I mean, not that you take it off them, but just as a little test. It seems to be the people that haven't got nothing will give you the most, and the people that have got the most won't give you nothing. BR Aki, are you still on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Big Kirk? And if so, gi or no gi? Right, no, I'm not. I was doing no gi, but I actually tore my fucking ligament in my knee doing it. So I wish I could say someone tried to snap me leg, but it wasn't. I was shooting in, and as I stood up to tip him over, my knee popped, and I did it quite a few times, and it's basically not ruined my knee. It did ruin my knee. It's actually getting better, but no, jiu-jitsu, I can't afford any more injuries, man. So I've had to stop it. Omar seems to have come good now. Picture has cleared up and running good. Spot on sound. Thank you, Omar. Jimmy's Building Services. Kirk, is that Weber OCR render any good? Excuse me. I've got a job coming up with it. Is it okay on cement board? Right. The OCR render is good. I wouldn't use it on cement board, though. I wouldn't go directly on cement board with it. There is base coats that are better suited to go on cement board. I've just used Weber Rendade. It's like a bagged render. And if you ask Weber, they say you can't put it on cement board, but they're just covering their own asses. Ultimately, Weber Rendade sticks the cement board like shit to a blanket. Excuse the foul language, but it's fantastic. It's not very nice to use, but it does stick very well. I've used it on cement board, I've tested it, and it will not come off. But what you've got to remember with these big companies is they can't say it's fine for something, because there's always going to be an exception to the rule, and then they're always going to have to pay out if they say it's okay. So we sort of spoke about this with the technical department, and we come to an understanding where they can't say it's good to use it, but they can sort of say you probably won't have a problem with it. It's what it's like. It's the claim culture nowadays, isn't it? If they say do it and then you do it and something happens, then they've got to pay for it, so they can't say do it. But remember this: there was fellas plastering over timber lintels, knocking clout nails in and leaving them sticking out a little bit and wrapping a bit of scrim around them, and they stayed on for 100 years. So the stuff that Weber put in their Rendade, bagged render, it sticks to almost anything. So you can almost guarantee it's not going to come off, but they won't guarantee it. So if you ask their department technical, it'll say no, but it will. So claim culture. Jimmy's building. Kirk, is that Weber OCR? Oh yeah, we've just read that one. Yeah. Chris Bogdan, Christian Ferenc, I'll cook for you again anytime. That goulash. I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. It's one of the best memories I've had. Do you know what? So Bogdan's one of my customers. My customers end up being like mates, all of them. It's flipping fantastic, and that was one of the best things, because the way he did it, he cooked it outside on a cauldron, like with flames underneath it, in a big like we see a witch's cauldron, like a big steel pot. It was cooked in that, flipping fantastic. And as well, might I add, he also had some Coronas with lime to wash it down, which was perfect. Where we are we? John Fenwick. I was another waiting on earlier draft of tonight's episode. 43 minutes. Oh shit! Sorry, mate. I don't know what was going on with YouTube. Every time I tried to say go live, I did everything I wanted, wrote my description, did my thumbnail, everything, and it wouldn't work. Tonight, after almost giving up, I thought I'll have one last stab. I don't think I've even done a description or a thumbnail, or I don't even know what this video looks like from you guys to click on it. I just thought, fuck it, I'll just give it one last shot, and it worked. So I don't know what's going on. Luke DeCosta, was it K-Rend again today or inside work, Kirk? So today I did a ceiling, boarded and skimmed the ceiling with a lantern. That was today's flipping escapade. I was ultimately supposed to do it yesterday, but it was my son's birthday, so things happened yesterday. Yesterday didn't happen. Young Kieran can't work the weekend, so I needed someone else. I can board ceilings by myself, but you know what? I'd rather not. I've done years of site bashing, house bashing, flipping sound block boards up 4 flights of stairs, putting 8x4s up ceilings on my own. I'm not interested in none of that no more. So when young Kieran wanted to spend the weekend with his girlfriend, I thought, stuff it. I'll find someone else to come and help me. And then my brother-in-law come in today. But he could only do today, he couldn't do yesterday, so we just put the job off. I could have gone and done it, but what's the point? What's the point? Rich, what are the drying times like with Weber compared to K-Rend? Do you still do the band system with it? Rich from Northwich, hope you are, mate. Rich, do you know what, Rich? I'm glad you've actually come on. Glad you're here, mate. Rich, me and the builder sorted things out the other day, mate. So now you're here. Just send me over the details, mate. We'll get that sorted. Yes, Weber. I've got a bit of a chest infection, I think, coming. Weber dries a bit faster. Weber goes off a bit quicker than K-Rend. It may have been the temperature, but I think we've recently used K-Rend, and it wasn't much hotter when we were using the Weber. Weber seems to go off a lot quicker, so we would only seem to be leaving it about 4 hours as opposed to like 6 to 8 hours with K-Rend. So yeah, it does go off a little bit quicker, which is ultimately good, but the product isn't as nice to use. K-Rend is a bit nicer to put on. Weber seems a lot more sticky, so, and it sags a little bit more. It's not like K-Rend seems to have a bit of body to it. Like, you know, you put it in a place and it'll stay there, whereas Weber, you put like a big clump of stuff up and it droops down. So, and it sticks to your trowel when you're sort of sliding off as well. So it's, I prefer K-Rend, but you know, I would use Weber again. John Fenwick, done 30 bags this week. My biggest job yet. Feels great, mate. I've been watching your vids, getting much from them. I didn't realise I needed. Cheers, dude. Cheers, John. John, I've done about, flipping heck, 5 bags this week. Now I'm only messing. I've been doing loads of monocouche work, so I've been grafting hard myself, mate. Much to my disapproval. I can't seem to get away from rendering jobs. It just seems to be one after the next, after the next. All I seem to be doing at the minute is just external work. I would much rather be plastering someone's living room, but the jobs are that good I can't say no to them. So I just seem to have to keep doing them. The only little break coming for me though is this Friday. I'm going to Switzerland to plaster some ceilings in Switzerland. So quite interesting. We're going to do a good video on this, I think. I had a fella sort of get hold of me and was asking me for advice. You know, he actually joined my group, but for plastering advice, to sort of coach him through how to plaster his own ceilings. And then ultimately, I was looking at the size of the ceilings thinking this potentially won't end well. It's like trying to teach someone to plaster over the phone. It's like trying to teach someone to ride a bike. It's ultimately a lot easier if you're there rather than, you know, so you get the gist of that. So I just said to him, look, if you want, I'll nip over and do them for you. So that's it. Flights are booked. Me and Kieran are going to Switzerland to go and plaster some ceilings. Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Back first thing Tuesday. So that'll be exciting. I'm going to get on the side of my van. Kirk Johnstone, the plasterer, Ellesmere Port, New York, Switzerland. We start doing the Only Fools and Horses flipping soundtrack at the start of my videos. Where are we now? Alan McGaffey. I think I'm saying your name right, mate. Hi, Kirk. Timber plywood between upper and lower curved bay windows. How would you prep for dashing? Cheers. Right, wait there. Kirk, timber stroke plywood between upper and lower curved bay windows. How would you prep for dashing? Cheers. Okay, so you've got two. Straight away to my mind, you've got 2 options. You can either, with the plywood, put straight over it felt, like, you know, like breathable roofing felt, or cement board straight over the top of it, and then put rib lath. So it's like expanded metal lath, but better rib lath. So you know what expanded metal lath is? Like a sheet of metal with all little slits cut in it, and they stretch it and it goes into like diamonds. That's okay to use, but if you're gonna screw it straight to the plywood or straight to the cement board, the stuff doesn't get right round the back of it. That's where rib lath is different. Rib lath is exactly the same thing, but it's got little spines on it, which you put the spines onto the wall, and then when you put your sand and cement on it, it goes around like our lath and plaster ceiling works. The stuff goes through it and like mushrooms over the top of the laths. It can do that with the expanded metal lath. It can go right, encase it, so it's fully gripped to the wall. So I really have got something wrong with my chest. Excuse me. I would use bit of it breathable felt, rib lath, scratch coat, and then dash it is how I'd do it. Or cement board, rib lath, and dash it. I would say cement board's probably a better job. Cement board it, and you could even put some exterior pre-grit on your cement board. I mean, ultimately, this is the thing with plastering. I'll tell you this way, and then someone else will tell you a different way, and then someone else will tell you a different way. Now, I know my way works because I've done it, and it's fine. But somebody else will say that their way is the best way, and so that's what I'll do, mate. Riblath. Google some riblath. It's not expensive, but you're better off with the stainless steel stuff as well. Working on a Sunday, even God had Sunday off, mate. Yeah, I know, Jimmy, I know. I did have Saturday off though, so. Bogdan, happy birthday to you, little man. All the best. Take care. I'll see you when I'm back from Turkey. Yes. Enjoy your holiday, Bogdan. Hope you're having a great time, mate. And say hello to Asilia as well. And the little fella. Danny Greer, happy birthday for yesterday, Mini Turbo. Do you know what, mate? He's actually in there driving his mum absolutely nuts. I've been shouted at. All you do is work and then you go in there. You leave me, I've got him all day. It doesn't stop. Here's me drinking Budweiser with you lot. She's probably watching me in there. I'll probably go in and get battered in a minute. She's probably got me on the big screen there listening to what I'm saying. She can't comment. I blocked my missus from the channel. Blocked her because she trolls me. She gives me loads of shit. So she can't comment. So she might be watching, but she can't say anything. So we're okay. Jimmy, I try not to work on the weekend. I tried having all week off, but I went skint pretty quick, and the wife nearly killed me. Yeah, do you know what? To be fair, Jimmy, I tell you, what I used to do was, I used to just work Tuesday to Friday, and that was it. Sort of like the rate that I sort of charge 4 days a week's enough for me. I can have quite a comfortable life on that. And I stopped working Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. I hate Mondays. In fact, all my mates call me the Boomtown Rat. You know the song by the Boomtown Rat. I don't like Mondays. That's me. But it's just I don't like saying no to people, and if I can sort of squeeze people in, I just end up doing it. So yeah, this job today, I've ended up here today because it's for the window firm that I do work for, and they were desperate to have this done. So I've done this because it needs doing this weekend. Because ultimately, starting Monday, I'm doing a bungalow in Churton, and their job needs doing within like 9 days because they've got a wedding. It's like they've got a big place and a bit of land with it, and they're having marquees in their garden, and they're having a wedding at their house, and the house, all the render's been chopped off, and the extension's in blockwork, so it needs rendering within like 9 days, and in between them 9 days, I'm going to Switzerland, so we're a little bit under pressure. We've got to sort of get things moving. John Fenwick, what are your views on plastic flexible trowels? I bought a couple of Nella ones last year, and they've been revolutionary for me, especially for curved ceilings. Yeah, plastic polishes plaster amazing. It's got to be said, plastic does get a nice polish on plaster. What you've got to keep in mind is, here's my view, and all I use is steel now. I'll use my speed skin, which is plastic, when I'm on Artex ceilings. But ultimately, I've had all the different flexi trowels, so I've tried them all. I've had the Nella Superflex, I've had the Black Edition, I've had the Refiner flexi trowels, I've had the Marshall. I just love buying tools, so I've tried them all. But ultimately, the conclusion I've come to is this. I do a lot of private work, domestic work. So a lot of the stuff I'm going over is old. I'm reskimming living rooms. I'm going over all sorts of old crap. If there's a bump in a wall and you're using a flexi trowel, it'll just follow the bump. That's why flexi trowels seem easier to use, because they'll make the finish look lovely, because they'll go in and out of every deviation. If there's a hollow or a high spot, whereas your trowel will sort of drag and push or leave a hollow, the flexi trowels look like they do a fantastic job because they follow the shape of it. So the texture looks perfect. And when you're stood directly in front of it, it looks amazing. But it's followed the bad shape. So once it's sort of dried, and been painted and the sun shines across it, it can look shit. Now, I'm not saying that yours will, and any of you guys that use them, if you use a good solid trowel and first coat it and second coat it and give it a flattening and you get the walls lovely, then you'll probably get a good job. If you can get over the work whilst the plaster's soaking wet, you could probably get a good job. If you go over plasterboard and you've got miles of straight walls, then probably fine. But in my experience, getting over all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of different crap, with a trowel that doesn't stay true, it moves, and it gives you the illusion that you're getting a perfect job because it'll go into hollows and they'll look smooth because the textures are the same because it hasn't missed. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's gone over the plaster, so it all looks uniform, but it's got a hollow, so that when the sun shines on it, when it's painted, it's still there. So for me and the line of work I do, I got rid of them. I just don't bother with them. It's, for me, I don't think it's worth the hassle. People say it's easier on the wrist because to get the same uniform look on the finish with a steel trowel or a carbon steel trowel, you've got to push a lot harder, and that's because the work still isn't flat. So you're having to push harder to flatten it out to get that look. So if you're using them thinking, oh, it's easier on the wrist, yes, it is, but it's not getting the walls perfect. So that's my that's my opinion. Plenty of fellas will disagree with me, and I'm sure you can get a lovely looking job with them, especially if you're going to have a new work, plasterboards. But for me, carbon steel all the way. But I've tried them all, and for me, I learned the hard way. I went back and seen a job once it was painted and I thought, nah, this ain't good. So, but yeah, curved ceilings, that exactly the same situation in them. I mean, ultimately, is someone going to check down the curve when the light shine on it? So it's, I am just reading the end of your comment there. For the curved ceiling, okay, in the curve, but I can get quite a nice job in the curve with me trowel. I just build it up as I'm going. So, with me carbon steel trowel. 10 men and the back, no one in attack. Only fools and skimmers. Put it on your pink suitcase. Top bloke, yes. I am taking a pink suitcase as well to Switzerland. That's coming with me. I've got my own black suitcase, but I'd rather have a pink one. No one pinches pink stuff, so that's why if you see my tools, I've got a pink tape measure, I've got pink string line, all the stuff I try and get in pink. When I was on the building sites, I used to have a pink high vis. No one's man enough to pinch pink stuff off yet. So Samuel Rowlands, when are you getting Blaine Gray on Kirk? Do you know what? I haven't chased him up. I spoke to Blaine a little while back, and do you know what? Blaine is a flipping. How can I put this without sounding like a tit? I have seen Blaine's videos, and all I can say to you is, when you speak to Blaine on the phone, he's different to how he is in the videos. He comes across different in his videos to how he is in real life. Okay, so I like his videos, but I like him even more in real life, if that makes sense. When you chat to him on the phone, he's full of banter. He's got really good... he's just got a playful, banterful personality. He's quite a funny guy. So I've chatted to him a few times, Blaine, and I've said to him, I'd love to sort of interview him. And he said he's up for it. But at the time, he was renovating his house and he was going on holiday. And he said, sort of give me a month, Kurt, because I've got loads of stuff going on. And as you know, as I know, he's busy. He's got his own business to run. He's got his own family to keep. He's got his own YouTube channel that he's trying to keep up with. Plus whatever else he does. I don't know what else, other things Blaine's doing behind the scenes. I don't follow him that much. But I know he's a busy guy. So sort of like trying to coincide with me. I should probably chase him up actually, but I'm just as busy myself. So, but it will happen. He won't get away from me. I will have him. Alan McGowie, brilliant. Cheers, Kirk. Can I get cement board that curves? Sorry, guys, this is horrendous. I do apologise. I wish I could not cough because it's probably shit for you to listen to me coughing. Cement board that curves. You can get 6mm cement board. You can probably put some grooves in it with your angle grinder. I don't know. It is fairly flexible, the 6mm stuff. You scribe the back of it like the joiners do with the skirting board. You cut little grooves in it and it flexes. I would try and do that, but I can't guarantee it'd work. But if you're going to put riblath on it, I mean, I'd soon get the shape just freehanding it. So even if you had to put little strips on to go round, little 2-inch strips right round the curve, you'd probably be able to curve it easier by hand. Patrick Lawrence, Evening Kirk, I've got a metal plate on the wall. Will bonding stick to it if I put scrim over it? It will be tiled over. No, bonding probably won't stick to it. I tell you what you could do. This is how I get over when there's big steel beams on the ceiling, extensions and what have you. Paint the bottom of it, paint the steel with thistle bondit or blue grit, and then put your plaster over it. But then I'll mesh over it as well, It's not ideal, but that potentially could work. I might die on this video. Flipping heck. Omar, you'll have to try and squeeze in the tool shop tour in Switzerland to see what kind of trowels and bits they've got over there. Interesting, Omar. I've been FaceTiming Kieran, which is the guy I'm going to work for over there. He's from the UK originally, but he's out in Switzerland now. But his accent, he sounds like a Canadian because he's been all over the world. He FaceTimed me from the hardware store, from their builders merchants, and they ain't got. Well, I don't know what store he was in. He might have been like in a crap store, but it's like, I don't know. For such an advanced country, they haven't really got much going on over there. They're plastering. From what I've seen, I've only seen the internal of his house on video call. So, but their plastering looks shocking over there, and that's why he wants me to go over. So, yeah, be interesting though. I will do. I'll take some video footage whilst I'm there of the hardware store or the builders merchants, whatever they've got. Turd lip. That Apton Kirk 4-inch trowels. Still you go to. Yes, mate. Yeah, that's all I use, mate. That's all I use. Nice and easy on the wrist. Alan I don't know how to say your surname, Alan McGowie. Gotcha. Cheers, mate. Good advice. BY68. What's your favourite food? Come on, I'll give you the guess. Comes from India. Samuel Rowlands. Top-notch advice on the flexi trowels. When I plastered my first ceiling, looked the desert with all sand dunes on. And Blaine Gray stopped using flexi trowels in his videos as well now. Yeah, I mean, they were all the rage. I remember when they first come out. In fact, oh my word. Someone shoot me. I remember the first time I seen flexi trowels, I was on the Plasterers Talk group on Facebook. And a fella brought them, was bringing the Nella ones out, a fella called Ryan Hill from Plasterers One Stop Shop. And behind the scenes, me and Ryan were talking. And I give him a little bit of what I thought would be good advice for him to offer, like a promotion with his trowels. You sort of get the trowel and you get a free Nella hat and a free t-shirt. And I just sort of like give him this idea. I mean, ultimately he was doing quite well anyway. But he did message me back a couple of days later and say, Kirk, that's absolutely amazing, thank you. And sent me some promotional stuff out. So I think, much to my sort of discredit, I think I actually helped the influx of these flipping flexi trowels in the first place. And now I'm sort of like reneging on the deal, saying don't use them. So I'm sorry. I thought they were great as well. I was in the same boat. I thought they were amazing, but now I don't like them. So Luke DeCosta, are you using board finish over in Switzerland? Yes, mate. Yeah, I am using board finish. We've got some. He's got some brick walls that are painted, and he's got some ceilings that are like concrete formed, but they form the concrete on shuttering boards. So the underside of his ceiling looks like the top of scaffolding, if that makes sense. Slow the boards, and then they've poured the concrete on top, let it set and set the boards away. So what Luke's done is he's organised for a courier to take over. I think he's got 10 bags of bonding going over, 15 bags of multi-finish, or no, board finish, sorry. A few other bits and bobs. He's got some SBR. He's got buckets and a whisk. Hop-ups. All I've got to take basically is my trowel and my handboard, or my hawk. Sorry for the flipping hawk brigade, and my flat brush. I'll just be taking the bare minimum in my suitcase. Bedrocker, hi Kirk. I've been plastering for a while now, but I'm not massively confident in rendering. Do you advise on doing a course or just going for it after watching yours and Blaine's vids? Is it that hard? Do you want me to give you my honest advice, mate? If you're this is what always the principle I've worked with. If you're not confident at doing something, just go and find someone that is doing it and offer to work with them for free. No one refuses free labour. I mean, ultimately, I wanted to get better at doing running moulds in situ years ago. Doing like, running cornice and stuff, not fibrous, actually in situ. And I thought, you know what? I haven't got the work coming in to do it, but I'm interested in it. I'd like to do more of it. So I just contacted a plasterer that was doing it. That's all he does. All he does is fibrous work and in situ work. He doesn't do skimming or boarding or dabbing. All he does is like ornate mouldings. So I just contacted him. Fantastic fella as well. Lee, he may even watch these videos. Not far from me. He's only up the road in Wirral. Contacted him and just offered, look, I want to come and work with you, and I don't want paying for it. I just want to come and get the experience, and that was it. So that's always an option, mate. It's actually cheaper than going on a course, and you learn in a real life situation. Guys, I'm sorry about the coughing. Use a flex trials of butter large. The travelling mason. I would only use a flexi trowel to butter large toasties. John Fenwick. Here's one for you, Kirk. I live in the Republic of Ireland. Did you know? Let me just put a show on that. Did you know the plaster here is grey and retarded? Yes. Car light finish, because when the pandemic was on, I couldn't get any plaster over here. It all dried up. I don't know what to do about this. Sorry. I wish I wouldn't cough. We couldn't get any more in here. Anyway, we got a pallet of stuff over from Ireland, car light finish, and it was absolutely gorgeous to use as well. Took a little bit longer to go off, but it was really nice to use. So I've actually had some of your Irish plaster, and I prefer it. What I don't like is skimming over it. That was quite common in England, the car light finish a few years ago. I think the 60s or 70s, before my time. But either way, I've re-skimmed lots of jobs that have been skimmed of it, and I tell you what, it's super high suction. PVA won't even touch that stuff. It's got to be SBR. You've got to SBR it, and you've got to let it go in for at least 8 hours. Howard Morris, what size carbon trowel do you use, mate? Want to get one. Had a carbon as an apprentice, but want to go back to one. How do you store it so there's no rust gather up too much? Like, This is just for medicinal purposes for my throat, by the way. Just to stop me coughing. We're there. And it is quite nice as well. I use a 14-inch by 4-inch carbon steel trowel. I use 14-inch by 4 for a couple of reasons. I've used 16-inch trowels, 18-inch trowels, and 22-inch trowels. Started getting pain in my wrists, up to the point where I couldn't scoop stuff out the bucket. Now I know, yeah, we all like to use spot boards. Everyone knows this. Use a spot board; it's faster. I know, but a lot of the jobs I do in small areas, I haven't got space for a spot board. By the time I'm in there, and I've got a little guy with the apprentice and all the tools and the materials, there's just not enough space in some rooms for the spot board as well. So scooping out of the bucket was giving me horrendous shooting pains down my arms. So I got rid of my 16-inch trowel, hung that up, and went to a 14-inch by 4-inch. Now I specifically chose the 4-inch trowel because it's not so wide, there's not as much leverage on the wrist. So would I recommend using that trowel? If your wrists are in great nick, I would probably say you're better off getting a 16-inch trowel. 16 inches more of a standard sort of size. 14s are fine. 16 is probably what I'd prefer to use. It's only for the fact that I don't want to get that pain in my wrist ever again, and I haven't had it ever since I've had this 14 by 4-inch trowel. So that's what I use. But if I was going to recommend a trowel to you, I'd probably say get a 16-inch trowel. 16, I think they're about 4 3/4 or 4 3/4 inch sort of width, or 5-inch. That's what I'll probably get, mate. Oh, and how do I store it? Mate, it's a big gimmick. I use carbon steel trowel. I don't do anything to it. I use it every day, mind. So if I left it for a couple of days, at Christmas time, which is about the only time when I'm not working for a couple of days, my trowel gets left in the van or in the toolbox, whatever. I pick it back out again, and on the bottom of it, there'll be a little surface of orange rust. I literally just rub that on a flagstone or on the curb, like, done. That's it. That's all you need to do. My old fella used to have a carbon steel, and he used to wrap it in an oily, it's like a ritual. At the end of every day, he used to get it, dry it all off with a towel. Then he'd get his oily rag and he'd fold it into his oily rag and put it away, like tuck it into bed, And then I got one, me, just a rough ass, and just shoved it in my tool bucket, and that was the end of it. The next day, you get a little bit of spotted rust on where it hasn't got a patina, and it goes dark on the bottom, and where the trowel actually does the business part, the sharp bit of the trowel, that won't have a patina. That'll be still shiny, bright metal because it's getting used. You may get a few little spots of rust on there, but the next day, get it, rub it once on a piece of plasterboard or on the wall, that's gone. Just use it. So I personally don't do anything with my trowel. I don't soak them either. Some fellas like to take the trowels in at night and soak them. Can you imagine me sitting in the bath with my trowels all down the other end, soaking away, putting a bit of Lynx, a bit of Radox for the trowels? I'm really taking the piss, but no, I don't. As soon as I finish work, them trowels, the last thing I'm thinking about, I'll deal with them tomorrow. But nothing happens to them, mate. They don't really need. I think if you've got a brand new one, when there's no patina on it, it does get a lot of rust straight away. But just keep using it, and as it starts to go dark underneath, it'll stop. I might have to stop soon if I can't stop coughing. Tim Bell, I'm a bit late to the party. Evening, Kirk. Evening, everyone. Michael Lawton. Hi, Kirk. I'm in college now. What advice would you give for someone who's just starting out? Cheers. Get on site. Michael, go and work on the building sites, mate. Go and do some site work with some fellas that are on place. It's hard. You'll hate it. It won't be fun, especially in the winter. The summer's shit. The winter's even shitter. But go and do some site work because you'll learn speed and you'll learn hard work. You'll learn to graft. Preferably jump in with a gang that does everything. I know a lot of sites these days, it's horrible the way it's going. I literally hate this. The trade being broken down. There's people on TikTok now telling me they're not a plasterer, they're a renderer. I'm like, there's renderers, there's skimmers, there's boarders, there's dabbers. I'm like, screeders. What you want to do is see if you can find a gang of plasterers that do everything themselves on building sites. So go and get your CSCS card and see if you can find a gang that are doing their own boarding, their own dabbing, and their own skimming, at least. You will learn so much from being with them for a couple of years. Go and jump on site for maybe 4 or 5 years. You'll learn so much. There's still a lot more to learn when you jump into the domestic side, but get your speed up and get used to hard work on the building sites. You'll be so much more prepared to go into doing domestic work. But domestic work is ultimately where I would say you want to end up. Nothing against site plasterers. I've done it for years and years. My best mate is still on site and he loves it. He wouldn't want to do domestic work. But if you want to get sort of like, if you want to get paid a lot more money for doing a lot less, then you need to go domestic. I mean, site's fine if if you don't like talking to customers, and I don't mind the stress of women getting upset and carpets ordered and need the plastering done tomorrow. If you can handle all that sort of thing, then domestic's great because you can earn more money and not have to work half as hard. You can sort of go in and do a living room ceiling and get paid more for that than what you would if you did 150 meters of skimming on site. So, but definitely do site work first. That's what I would do if I was going to start all over again, mate. I would go back on site again. You'll need a CSCS card. And to help you, again, I always say this: go and offer your services for free. Go and find a gang that does everything on site and just say to them, look, I've got my CSCS card. I just want a foot in the door. I'm happy to work for nothing. I just want to learn. Let me work for free for you for a week. And if you think I'm good, then take me on. Because ultimately, fellas will already be set up. They'll already have a little crew of, they don't need any extra men. But if you offer to work for free, it's not that they'll want you for free. Most working men aren't flipping scumbags. They're not evil. They won't want to watch you pull your plums out for absolutely nothing. Most fellas, what they don't want is they don't want to say yes, they'll take you on, and then you're crap, and then they're stuck with you. Because ultimately, when you start, you can't do anything. Let me just put this phone on charge with it. When you first start, you're basically just costing them money. Because unless you're putting stuff up the wall, there it is. I'll just put the charger in that. Unless you're putting plaster on the wall, you're just costing them money. They've got to find your wage out of what they're doing. So if they agree to take you on, it's like an obligation that they've got to pay you then. And you could be absolutely useless. So when you offer to work for free and you impress them all week, of course they'll throw you some money and you'll get a job at the end of it. So I would say that's the easiest way in. I've took a few lads on, and that's how they've managed to get in with me. Because ultimately, like now, I've got 3 or 4 of us. We don't need anybody else. So I'm not looking for anybody else. And when people I get messages all the time. Do you want an apprentice? My son's just left school, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I would love to have everyone working with me, but I've got to pay these people, and it all comes out of my wage. The lads will all be paid. So it's coming out of my sort of pocket, paying them. And I know the first week they're going to rip the cord off the whisk. They're going to split a bag open. They're going to kick, they're going to kick a water bucket down they're going to cause chaos. so that's would be my advice, mate. Just offer your services for free and impress people, and then you should be fine. John Fenwick, it's called Skim Coat. Made by Thistle. Yeah, that's it, yeah. But it's grey and takes well over 3 hours to set. Obviously, there's good and bad to this. Just thought I'd mention. Yeah, that's the stuff, mate, yeah. Is it in like I'm sure it was in like a white and red bag, if I remember correctly. Andrew Barraclough. Hi, Kirk. I have been asked to put a stud wall in with an arch in it. How would you go about doing this? as I've not done one before. Thanks. Oh, right. I don't even know if I can explain this properly. Let me try. How I used to do... Let me just check with an arch in it, yeah. Okay, so how I used to do it was board the wall. I'm going to be able to show you better on this. Wait there a second, let me just try. Let me just hold this here. Let me just see if I can... Let's just see if I can just show you easier on this flipping little whiteboard here. Right, stud wall. Look at this, like going back to school of Kirk, isn't it? Stud wall here, yeah? There's your doorway in the middle there, right? So what I would do is put my plasterboard up there, and I would leave a little notch from the springing line of the archway. So wherever you want the archway to start, put a little notch, take it back an inch. Yeah, so your plasterboard goes like that and like that, right? Can you see that? So that's plasterboarded. There'll be, you know, joists behind there, studs behind there, sorry. There, that's plasterboarded. So you've got this little section in here now. There'll be some studs up here. You've got this little section that needs plasterboard going in, right? I would cut a rectangle piece of board that fits right in there. And then what you want to do is get a little piece of, you have to set this out on the floor. So you take this piece of plasterboard off, you go and set it on the floor somewhere. You measure the distance from there to the top of there, right? So you know where it needs to finish on the board there. And what you want to do is, it's a bit of farting round. You need a tape measure and you need a piece of string, but ultimately you're going to put a little nail in the ground, piece of string off to over here, and then just check it. And you want to just swing the string side to side with a pencil or a standing knife and get your archway drawn. Make 2 of those, front and back, cut through it. Is this making sense? This is just like the fast, cheap way of doing it on building sites. Get your 2 pieces of board with the arch shape cut perfectly, set out on the floor, you know, with your piece of string. Cut them off, screw them in place, and then with a bit of adhesive, butter the inside of the archway up with adhesive and put little pieces of plasterboard, let it set, fill it out with adhesive, and then you'll have a nice arch shape. Put your arch beads on there, nail them into the adhesive because it'll all be nice and solid once it's all set. And then away you go. Now, that's how we used to do it on site because they didn't supply arch kits. You could go and buy an arch kit, but then you've got to stick with their radius. Ultimately, doing it that way, you can make your own radius up. I tell you another way we used to do it, but I can't really explain it to you. If you Google a plasterer's oval, so whatever size you've got, you can divide it into 3 sections, and you put. I can't explain it. Just Google a plasterer's oval, and it'll show you how to make it. Ultimately, you want to set out an elliptical archway. That's the archway that I used to like to do, an elliptical archway. And what it is, as it goes into the curve gets tighter as it goes in. It's a lovely shape. Elliptical archway. It's quite easy to set out, and all you need is a little bit of string to do it, and a pencil. Cut your shape out, screw it in place, fill it with adhesive, put little boards in to, you know, to build it out, fill it up solid, and then you're good to go. I've probably made that sound a lot more complicated. I'll do a video on this at some point. I've probably just made that sound a hell of a lot more complicated than what it is, but I hope you get the gist of it, mate. Howard Morris. It's okay, I'm drinking too, mate. Yeah. Do you know what, mate? This is it. This is like my 2nd can. I wish I had a 10, the way my throat's feeling. Selig Geringa. What are you talking about? I don't know. I don't know, mate. Jimmy's Building Services. That offer is still open, mate. I'll send you that big Hawk handboard if you want to dust that 20-inch trowel off. Do you know what, mate? I haven't got the 20-inch trowel anymore. It was a 22-inch trowel as well. It wasn't 20. It was 22-inch trowel. So I used to keep a garage, like I rented a garage off the council years ago, and I used to keep all my cement mixer. I used to have a cement mixer. Flipping, listen, if you've got a cement mixer for rendering, forget it. Just use your mega mixer. Get a massive refiner tub and just mix it in the tub. Forget your cement mixer. Absolute waste of time. It takes ages to mix it. It takes ages to clean and wash it out. It's just you got to lug it round. It's in the way. It's big and bulky. It spits stuff out the front of it. Absolutely crap. Just use a big refiner tub or a 45-gallon drum and a mega mixer. You won't go wrong. But I used to keep a council garage, Jimmy, and I used to put all my stuff in there. And I got robbed twice, which started to get a little bit tedious because I thought, because it wasn't where I lived, it was like a couple of streets away. So I thought, someone's obviously watching me and going in there and pinching me stuff from time to time. Screw guns. I used to have those Senko screw guns. Makita screw, the auto feed screw guns for site work. And as well, I had my 22-inch trowel hung up on the wall in there. But what happened was, the garage next door, there was a young fella. I think he's about similar sort of age to me. And he was doing cars up in his garage. He was like fixing cars up. And he was welding in there. And he had some acetylene bottles. Sure, I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, he did something and blew him up. Unfortunately, the fella died. Like he blew the flipping garages to smithereens. So he exploded his garage and exploded mine, and I think about 2 or 3 either side. But he was on fire. He was running round and flipping. Yeah, wasn't nice. So that was the end of my garage, because all my stuff basically got smashed with bricks when he exploded it, and then it all burnt as well. So that was the end of that. And as well, because it was a council garage, I wasn't supposed to store anything in there apart from a vehicle. So, I mean, but ultimately, I wasn't. At the time, I didn't even care. I just thought, flipping heck, this poor fella, he's passed away. And he had little kiddies as well. I don't even know his name. I just know that he didn't make it. Like, I knew a fella that lived in the house right next door to where it happened. Like, it's hard to explain. The garage block is here, with garages here and garages here. And there was a little entry at the end with a walkway through, and the house is facing. And a friend of my dad's lived there, and he's seen it and come through and pushed the fella to the ground and tried to pat the flames out on him. And he was traumatized from it, but ultimately the lad later died in hospital. So I wasn't going to start whinging about tools when someone's just lost their flipping dad. So yeah, you never know, do you? You never know when things can happen to you. So try and enjoy each day. Scott Thompson. Why would I have yellow stains coming through white paint in a newly plastered room? It only seems to be where the edges of chasers are. Don't know, mate. I don't know. Usually, staining is from water. Water staining sometimes bleeds through, or nicotine staining sometimes comes through. But nicotine is usually like little spots. You can get some stuff. Is it Zinza stain guard? Paint that on first, mate, and then paint over it. Should be fine. Howard Morris, that's what I used to do with the oil rag. Yeah. Dave Smith, why don't you use stainless steel trowels? Dave, I do. There's no sort of thing against stainless steel. I use stainless or carbon. I've currently got a carbon steel trowel. I'll probably get another carbon. But ultimately, the reason I sort of switched back into is because after 25 years of plastering, you just get a bit like, it's just nice to mix things up, It's just nice to have something different. It just feels, it makes the whole plaster experience feel different. A carbon trowel is a completely different feel to a stainless steel trowel. So it's sort of like I've got to try and, I'm at that stage in the game where I've got to try and keep myself interested, mate. Jimmy87, hi Kirk. I found that on old walls with external angles which have wood underneath plaster, I've started to chisel it off now, then form an angle again with bonding. Yeah, those wooden staff beads, they're a bit of a nightmare, aren't they? The thing with them wooden beads is, Jimmy, as you all know now, when you're cutting those wooden beads out the corner, I'll give you a little tip as well. I'll give you it's a little cowboy tip, but it works. So you do with it what you will. If you've got the time to chop them out, take them out. That's the best way of doing it. Those wooden beads down the corner, they will be nailed into little timber wedges that are in the courses of brick. So what tends to happen is when you pull the bead out, it pulls these little wedges out, which pulls big chunks of plaster off, which ultimately, depending on how well the plaster's adhered, can lead to half of walls coming off. You know, you can end up trying to take a bead out, and next minute the whole chimney breast is off back to the brick, and then you're looking at the window wall thinking, flipping heck, is that one next? You know, I haven't sort of priced for this. Here's a little cowboy trick that you can use, but it's not textbook, and I'm not sort of recommending it. I'm just saying it works. What happens is you get cracks down that timber bead because the moisture from your plaster gets to the timber swells, your plaster sets, and then a day or two later that timber bead shrinks again, and you get 2 cracks right down the side of your skin bead. Now, fellas will say put scrim down it and then do it. It's 50-50. It might still crack. What I found is a little sneaky way you can do is get some wide duct tape or normal size duct tape and do 2 layers. Cover over that timber bead, both sides, with duct tape first. Then scrim it and then put your bead on. And what's going to happen then is the moisture can't get through to the timber because the duct tape stops it. Your finish has still got a sort of a key to the scrim, and then your bead finishes the corner off. I'm not saying go and do it. I'm just saying it works. So sometimes you can take the bead off and open a whole can of worms, can't you? You pull that wooden bead out and catastrophes start. So if they're not up for having the whole room took off, it's just another thing you can offer to the customers. Look, I've got this other way of doing this. It's not textbook. You know, I can't guarantee it, but it'll be cheaper than taking these beads out and if the walls come off. So just an idea for you. Everybody be saying, he's a cowboy, he's a cowboy. I'm just telling you things that I've found that work over the years, you know. What have we got here now? Howard Morris, you were drinking last time on a school night. Must be a plastering thing. Got to wash the dust down, mate. I don't know what's going on with my throat as well. So, Alberto AF, yeah, thanks for asking my question last week. Mine was the last one of the night. No worries, Alberto. Talking about the last one of the night, it's flipping 20 to 11. I've got to go. I've got things to do in the group. So, look, anyone that's asked a question, I'm going to just blitz through these questions now. So please don't add any more, especially you, Alberto. I know what you're like. Let's just call it a night. Let me just get through these questions quick so everyone gets an answer, and then I'm going to rein it in because I've got things I need to crack on with. John Fenwick. Okay, he's talking to Omar. Truth Seeker. I've taken a break from plastering for a few months to do patchwork on site. Much easier, less hours and stress. Yes, I agree, mate. Hope you're using that. Easy Fill 40. That's the good, or Easy Fill 60. I'm sure there's Easy Fill 45. I think it is. Yeah, flipping done. Sand it. You can trial it up, but just sand it. It's easier. Tim Tiamaha. Oh, what's he say there? Hi, mate. Been loving watching your vids, especially recently. I'm only 22 and I've already pulled my back, so I've been off the past 2 weeks and I've been desperate to get back in. Oh, mate, take it easy. Back injuries. Give it plenty of time to rest. Jamie, done arches with hardboard on the underside. Yes, that's the way my dad used to do it. Setting it out of hardboard and plastering it and then taking it off and plastering the other side. Andrew, yes, I understand that. Thanks, mate. I love the drawing. Cheers, mate. Clip A's adjustable tool. Oh, Clip E's. Tool Supports. Yep, Kirk. I hear you're off to Switzerland. Nice. We are over in Italy doing a demo show. Take care, Dave. Clippies, time-saving tools. So this fella has given me some promotional stuff. I need to do a review on that, but we haven't had a conservatory yet. But spot on. Thanks, Dave. Gentlemen. Bedrocker. Thanks for the previous advice. Also, have you ever used the BG Pro products? When and why would they be used? So you're talking about the breathable plaster, which is basically lime. What else have they got? Magnetic plaster, which is basically a gimmick. Well, there's something else in their pro range as well. Can't think what it is. But yes, I'm one of them guys. I like experimenting. So yes, I have farted around with some of their stuff. I can't think what. I've used the magnetic plaster and I've used the breathable plaster. That's why I can't think of the other one. It'll come to me. When and why would they be used? So the magnetic plaster, obviously, for people can put fridge. It's not magnetic. It's just basically got metal filings in it, so people can put magnets on the wall. Ultimately, it's a bit of a gimmick. The breathable plaster is basically lime plaster. It cleans the air. That's what lime plaster does. It sort of takes. What's the? I can't think of nothing tonight. My flipping brain's dead. Google what lime plaster does to the air. It takes carbon out of the flipping atmosphere or something. And their stuff. What British Gypsum have done is they've told you all the benefits of what lime plaster does, but they haven't told you that what you're buying from them is basically lime plaster in a bag. Now, it doesn't tell you what the ingredients are, so I can't say for certain that it's lime plaster in the bag. But if you Google the benefits of lime plaster and Google what British Gypsum's breathable plaster does, put them side by side, it ticks all the same boxes. So ultimately, I believe it's lime plaster, but and they've put a certain amount of gypsum in it to make it set at the setting time that they specify. Because the thing with lime is there's two different types of lime. Here we go on a tangent now. There's two different types of lime that you can get: hydrated lime and hydraulic lime. Hydraulic lime's got more impurities in it, and it will set. Hydrated lime will not set but cure by carbonation over time, unless you gauge it with plaster, which is what I believe they've done. They've put a certain amount of gypsum plaster in their hydrated lime with the aggregates that they add to it. Aggregates are like, sand or whatever they put in there, finer aggregates. We're going too deep into stuff. We don't even need to talk about it. But yeah, I've used it, and ultimately, it's for people that are conscious of wanting to have clean air, but you've got to use a breathable paint with it as well, so bit of a catch. You can't just go and buy your usual, silk paint and paint it. Won't work. Jimmy's Builder Services. Good night. All work in the morning again, so off to bed. Howard Morris. Yeah, good night, Jimmy. Take it easy, mate. Howard Morris. Have you ever used Thistle Pro Pure? That's the stuff. That's the stuff going on about, Howard. Thistle Pro Pure Finish. It's a bit more expensive than normal. It's really smooth, like the fast set that's out. It's like Carlite Skim, so though I'd give it a go. It's really nice. That's the gear, mate. That's what I believe is the that's lime plaster, basically, is what I believe, but they don't state that. Skater Girl, Kirk, hope you're well. Have you ever made your own lime plaster and applied it? Thanks. Yes, I have. Yeah, it's not really rocket science. You can just use hydrated lime and sand, or you can gauge it with some casting plaster, which is basically, they give it all different names. You see, it's all the same stuff, but they just put their own names on it and then make it like it's a new invention. So casting plaster is basically just pure gypsum. So you can put a certain amount, just gauge to how fast you have to do your own little experiments. But a scoop of casting plaster in with hydrated lime and some, I don't know, fine sand, silica sand, will give you a nice lime finishing plaster that will set and you can trowel up. If you don't put the gauged casting plaster or the plaster of Paris or the flipping pure gypsum in, then it'll dry out over a day or two, so you'll be able to put it on and basically trowel it up the next day. And as it sort of dries out, you just got to get it smoother and smoother. Jack Air B. Start a new job tomorrow, plastering for a massive energy firm, working away from home all week. Money's brilliant, but comes with the cost of staying away from home. Wish me luck. Yeah, enjoy, mate. It's quite an experience working away from home. But ultimately, you got to think, what I say to people now is when I'm working away, you didn't work 24 hours a day. I say, no, you're not. You didn't work 10 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. You know, I say, well, where am I when I'm not on the job? Well, you're in the hotel or you're at your digs or wherever you're staying. Say, okay, but I'm not at home, am I? If I'm not at home, where am I? If I'm at home in my hometown, if I'm at home with my missus and kids, if I'm at home in the restaurant or the local pub or in here, I'm at home, aren't I? If I'm not at home, I'm at work. So yes, I might not be physically doing work, but for me, I class it as I'm in work 24 hours a day. Try that one, mate. See if you can get a pay rise. Probably get you fired. Omar, take it easy, Omar. Good night, mate. Jimmy, 87. Cheers for the tip, Kirk. We'll bear that in mind next time I have a job like this. Spot on, mate. Alberto, just deleted my question. Cheers, Kirk. Howard Morris, duct tape on the old wooden bead. I like it. Don't tell everyone, mate. Don't tell them I told you. I get enough stick online. I don't need anyone else telling me I'm a cowboy. Scott Thompson, cheers to the reply, Kirk. Hopefully the staining can be cured with Zinza paint. Thanks again. Loving the content. Spot on, Scott. Take it easy, mate. Bedrocker, thanks for the previous advice. Also, have you ever used the BG Pro products? Well, yeah, we've just covered that. Craig Mills, have you been on sniff again, Kirk? No, mate. Drugs are for mugs. In fact, mate, I'll go so far. Listen, I'm not naive either. I grew up on a council estate. I've been around the block a few times, mate, and I've done all the naughty stuff. I've been involved with all the naughty boys, and ultimately, I lie in bed at night now and know no one's knocking my front door, mate. The police ain't coming through. No little gangsters are coming through. You know, I can lie in bed with a clean conscience. The drug scene, going down that route of flipping cocaine and flipping all that crap, costs you an absolute fortune. It'll give you mental disorders, like you'll have anxiety, depression, all sorts of stuff going on. You'll end up flipping doing all sorts of stupid things when you're on it. It's ultimately a waste of money. It ruins the day after you. It's just drugs are for mugs, mate. So I have not been on sniff. Not in a million years. But I have tried it. I've flipping, I've lived in the real world, mate. We've all been young. Skater girl. Thanks, Kirk. Good night. Danny Arbuckle, all the best, mate. Howard Morris. Great to listen to you, Kirk. Your passion and knowledge shows through. Keep doing what you're doing. Cheers, mate. Michael Lawton, cheers, Kirk, for the advice. Right, last one. My old mate, Pure Blood. Nimpo. Hello, Kirk, mate. I'm doing a silicone render job at home. Never done it before, so what size bead is best to get and what tools do I need, please? Oh, you've thrown one on me now, mate. Right, if it's your first go, I would use 15mm beads. You're going to need, obviously, your mixing gear. You need enough buckets to mix enough stuff so that you can have all the gear mixed up. You don't want to be stopping what you're doing to mix up. So ultimately, go and watch any of my videos. The last video I did, or the one before the last, Monocouche render, steaks and beer. There's like a bit of a how-to guide in that, but I have done a K-rend guide, which will be quite helpful, covering all the different stages of K-rend and what can go wrong and how to avoid it. That'll probably be a good watch for you. You're going to need your mixing stuff. You're going to need enough buckets to be able to mix all the gear up, or to have someone alternating, whilst you're using one tub, they're mixing the next tub. You're going to need an eye bar, a derby, handball trowel, brush, blah de blah, and you're going to need one of those little scratchy float things you've seen, like a nail float, I call them. They're like a million little nails on one side and the handle on the other side, and that'll come in handy as well. But ultimately, mate, if the wall's all over the shop, it's an old house, been rendered, chopped off, then I would use 15mm beads, because you don't want to scrape through, your eyeball or your float to the base coat. So the thicker the top coat goes on, the safer you're going to be. But if it's on brand new work, I'll base coat it with mesh, and I'll top coat it, and the wall's dead straight and flat. So I'll only use 10mm beads, because I know I'm not going to have to scrape back a lot. I'll make sure my top coat's on nice and full and flat and derbied off. So I've only got to literally scrape the surface off it and it's finished. So I'll use 10mm for that. But maybe if it's your first go, then use 15mm beads, mate. Oh, right. Guys, it's been emotional. And I'm sat in here, I'm flipping roasting, I'm sweating. No wonder he's asking me if I'm on flipping Charlie. I'm sweating, I'm coughing, I'm flipping... Oh. That's it from me. Good night, God bless. Take it easy, guys. We got there in the end, didn't we? An hour of trying to go live, and we finally got there. Good night. Adios. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Okay.